What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Essential Scares podcast, the only show that dares to ask the question, is it essential? I am your host, Corbin, and with me, as always, is Alan.
Howdy.
And Bobby.
She liked it, so she put a ring on it.
Oh my
God.
We have got quite an interesting show coming at you today. We'll be discussing the brand new, frequently delayed, and divisively enjoyed Texas Chainsaw Massacre requel. But before we get into it, Bobby has a spoiler warning.
I do. This will serve as your first, one, and only spoiler warning for the thing that is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. If you do not want it spoiled for you, please skip to the time code provided in the description for our essential spoiler-free discussion. This spoiler warning is for nobody except for my father, Brian Dunlap. Brian? Like. That's 10 likes, Dad. That's 10 shots. Have a good night. Corbin.
Thank you.
Rip
all
Ryan.
Right. Yeah, for real. Alan,
It might not have been 10 likes. I have no idea. I just added it. Yeah. But take it even 10, Dad.
I love you just said in amount, and then at the end said that's 10. We don't know.
I believed you outright.
I know. I wasn't counting.
Yeah, but somebody definitely would, and it's probably going to be my dad.
Yeah. All right, Alan. I kind of want to kick this to you a little bit.
Okay.
For various reasons, not least of which that I'm going to need you to tell me what this movie's all about.
Okay.
But second of which, because you are the only one here who has only seen one other Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, the original.
Yep.
And I absolutely think that has a serious impact on how you feel about this movie specifically.
Probably.
So, Alan, why don't you tell us the premise of this new one, and then just go into it.
All right, so some influencers decide to buy a ghost town down in Texas, and lo and behold, it's the ghost town that now has the decrepit old man version of Leatherface for some reason, because plot, and leatherfacing literally ensues.
Yeah. That's about it. That's like the whole movie, actually.
Yeah.
Usually we make fun of you for being too short, but that's about as bare bones and thin as this plot is.
Yeah.
Bobby, that's precisely why the synopsis was like 2 sentences. For me, that is like so little effort that I put into this.
Yeah.
This movie was hot garbage, boys. I'm just going to get right into it. Yeah. I think I hated most of what I experienced in this film. Is part of that because the only reference point I have for this franchise is the shining, glowing gem that is the original? Maybe.
It's not. It's not no, it's not. I'm gonna save you right now. It's not. There's other movies that are.
I think it is a little bit.
I think so. I didn't have much expectations going into this film. Like I really didn't.
Yeah,
because I was
probably
like,
for the best.
Well, exactly, and it somehow still let me down. Like I came in with very little out of this movie, and I walked out going, I didn't like that at all. Maggie watched this with me.
I also watched it with my wife. Yeah,
yeah, and when the film finished, I just turned around. I was like, what the fuck was that? Because it just has Maggie seen any other Texas Chainsaw Massacre? No.
Okay,
this
so
is it.
Also, I watched it with Jill, and she'd also never seen any of the other ones, so this is her first experience. She hated it.
This movie just like, I don't know, Bobby's
got a lot. He's aching to say something.
I wrote a tweet, and I do not tweet a lot. Any of you who follow me through the podcast know I am virtually non-existent on Twitter, except I like and retweet things. And I said, as a hashtag official horror guy, I'm just going to come out and say it. The new Texas Chainsaw Massacre is beyond dog shit. It's very bad. It's a very, 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 very bad movie. And it's making people regret requels already. You've seen them online. You've seen the articles. We need to stop making movies like this. The problem is, is this is really of the movies that we've seen the first bad one, but you know it's not going to be the last. We got very lucky.
That is true. This probably is the first really bad
We got
one.
Halloween 2018 was awesome. Halloween Kills was fine, right?
But that almost doesn't count because it's the sequel to the requel.
Yeah. It's
Halloween, Scream, Candyman.
Yeah, Five Cream, Candyman, all of that, right? I'm keeping it now. Guest of the show, Ben. Your legacy lives on through me. But there is, right, this is the first really bad one, but you know it's not going to be the last. Like, this movie is, like, so full of, like, what is the message of this movie?
Don't buy a ghost town.
Don't buy a ghost town, yeah.
Always bring the deed to a house you think you own.
But like what? But like seriously, is this a conservative movie? Is it a liberal movie?
You say that.
Is it anything, or is this movie so like tries to be everything, but at the end of the day is the most safe movie, and they still can't even do that right?
I think in the end, the message it holds the most strongly is sort of an extreme version of like a Texas like castle law. Like it's most of the movie is basically Leatherface killing people that came onto his property. That's the movie.
he is literally Shrek. Get out of my swamp. Here's my chainsaw.
Yeah. That's the message, I guess, is don't trespass.
Can I go for it?
Go ahead, Bob.
No. I will.
We're just gonna keep running into each other.
I'm gonna go.
Our Texan
Richter?
hero. I don't know.
He attempts to be a hero. Yeah.
And immediately like bad.
I kind of love that actually. Though.
One of my notes I've written down is like, is this guy gonna be our hero now after Dante gets just murdered?
I know, and then he gets his leg like caved inwards.
I don't know, man. This movie just like it meanders a lot in ways that I just didn't care for. It just doesn't seem like there's much of a through line.
Watch out, bro! You're gonna get canceled.
Oh my!
I honestly
fucking. I turned to Maggie and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
You didn't think that was funny?
No,
it was terrible.
Because I don't think this movie is intelligent enough to deliver a joke like that in a way that is funny.
I disagree.
That joke has
level.
not been funny. That joke has not been funny for like 6 years. It was funny the first two times.
That's why.
And then
it was funny
every
this time.
single
no.
It's
so dead. It's such a dead joke. I think that this.
It is not intentional. You're laughing at the movie, not with it.
Some level of humor that does occasionally work.
That you're laughing at the movie. You just don't realize you are. You are absolutely laughing at the movie.
I disagree.
That movie is every aging comedian who thought, gonna get canceled for this one because I can't write new funny jokes anymore, right? That's all that was. That was them being like, millennials like to cancel people, right, guys? But Leatherface doesn't care because he's got a chainsaw. It's not funny. It's bad, and I laughed at the movie at that point. Like,
there are moments that are funny, like for example, when Leatherface throws a hammer at a girl and she flies back 30 feet.
That was funny.
Through a fucking stairs. That was funny. I don't know that it was meaning to be funny, but it definitely was.
You know what else was funny? The fact that in the entire bus scene, this was my thing. I had. It took me like weeks. But this pulled me out of this movie a week later, because I watched this like a week or two ago. I had an Alan moment where like I was thinking about it.
But a week later? That's
powerful. A week later, I got pulled out of it again. Because I was thinking about it last night to be ready for it for a day. And I'm like, the last girl, the lawyer girl or the bank girl, she opens up a window, and it's just a normal window. It's not one of those escape windows. It's just they all could have opened up a window, and they just none of them did.
Yeah,
and I was like. How
does that like take you out of it though?
Because they show that they could have more like it.
Would you have?
Yes.
No, you wouldn't
simply right away. Somebody with a goddamn chainsaw is in front of my only door. Goddamn window out. Let's go.
think so.
Out. 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 I'm pulling people out with me. Yes. Absolutely, easily. She does it at the end, proving that other people. Yeah. After there were people up against the window the entire time.
Didn't work out very well for her, did it?
No, because she was the last one left, and it was stupid. And what was her death scream? Just, ah!
Yeah.
Her lungs got hit, Bobby.
Yeah,
she didn't have the air capacity.
Yeah, at the waist. Her lungs are up here.
Yeah, her lungs are abnormally long. See, you didn't read the background lore of this character. You always got to read she is a sprinter
the prequel
who
novel.
runs like a marathonist, okay? Her lungs go to her knees, man. It's insane.
What happened to the other Sawyers? Where are they?
Doesn't matter.
That was the question I had too, is because the whole thing with these films is
it
like
was
the
pretty bad,
family.
Though. Yeah. Well, it's weird because that's one of those elements that like gets messed up a lot actually, because like the second one does that pretty well, obviously. The best.
It's
actually.
Fantastic.
And then, the third and the fourth one are both like sequels to the first one, both of them, and both of them do the family differently and badly. And then the reboot is like kind of ignores that element entirely, and then
Leatherface isn't the scary one in these movies.
No, but he's the famous one, and that's the thing. Yeah. He's on the poster, he's on the VHS, like that. So he just became the face of it, and I think once, especially after the second one came out, they needed an icon, to go, because you had like Jason and everybody was like running high, and so it became Leatherface. And I think that some of the Texas Chainsaw movies have done a Leatherface forward family adjacent movie pretty well. I don't think that this is one of them, but I think that Texas Chainsaw.
Why? Because there was no family?
Well, exactly. the mom is the old lady is like standing in basically. So, and not that she's like ever scary or is like villainous in the way that the family is supposed to be. But...
No, she's supposed to be the good guy, and this like she's like, oh, I kept Leatherface from being evil this whole time,
which is so funny. Like, okay, how old is she supposed to be? Like, literally over 100 years old. Leatherface is like 75 at this point.
Yeah.
So Corbin, it's very clear that Bobby and I do not think very highly of this film. What do you think that is redeemable about this film?
So I heard a lot about this movie before I saw it, right? We all watched it a little bit late due to various reasons, and the biggest reason
Daddy got married.
The most positive thing that I heard about this movie in advance is that it feels like a mid-late 2000s slasher where it is just a paper-thin, basically non-existent plot and a lot of kills, right? And in a lot of ways, this movie does feel like that, and I happen to be a huge fanboy for that era of slasher. And, this movie was not good. It is a bad film, guys. The story is terrible. The acting is terrible. But there are some good things.
I'm not even sure it's a movie.
Well, we're not going to go down that path. I think that there are some good elements. So I think that this movie has some like shockingly good cinematography at times. I think that this movie has some very creative and interesting kills, and I quite enjoyed them. I think that I kind of ended up enjoying what they did with. I'm divided on it, but I think I liked what they did with the old final girl Sally, because it was such a like spit in the face of it, basically, like of the entire like requel idea. For that I liked it, but I would have preferred her to just not be in the movie at all. I think everybody would agree with that. So I don't know. I mean, like,
Soul Survivor.
the movie is not good, but it's very watchable, and I did have a good time. I think that's probably would be what I said about it. From that very
So-
first kill onward, I was like, okay, I'm here for it. The characters all suck. They're all tropes and terrible, but like that's kind of the point, because then you don't really care. Also, the very last shot is so good. I love that so much.
Oh, I thought it was that the ending was so stupid.
It was so
rolled my
funny.
eyes so
I
fucking
love
was
that.
so
It
stupid.
was terrible when they're like turning the Tesla on and like putting it on auto drive, and they're just gonna sit there. And it was terrible, and then it became good. And I like that.
No, I thought it went from bad to worse.
Really?
And, yes, I thought the only thing that could make this worse is if Leatherface does the Leatherface at the end.
Yeah.
Like, and I was like, oh, they did, okay, because you want to know why that proves. We can get to the ending more in full detail, but that ending proves that there was not a shred of irony in this movie. There is not a shred of irony in this movie. That was their big ironic joke, was the ha ha ha, they're going to make it out in the Tesla. This movie is like, it is
creatively bankrupt.
it is without wit. It is made by a committee. It is like it. And I didn't even like the kills because they were so like CGI'd.
Yeah,
they,
but
like,
some of them are really good.
Like I don't know,
That very
man.
first
Like
kill was great. Richter's
With-
kill
with-
is great.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
they're fine. They're fine.
come on.
I'm
You've never
not.
seen that before.
Which one?
That very first kill, you've never seen that before.
with her getting
With him,
like
when he snaps the guy's hand and then stabs him with the arm with the wrist bone.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
that's
yeah,
great.
that I kind of forgot about that. That's pretty good. That was pretty good.
Yeah.
But like, that's it. Like, you know, and like the fact that like the old lady, like there's a couple.
The
I'm
whole
bouncing
old
all over.
lady
The,
thing is like terrible.
well, when Sally finds the old lady and she looks like she's just like a meat, like someone who made like a statue out of meat. You know, you ever see it like
Yeah,
like
I've
a
seen
meat
it.
man?
I didn't.
Yeah, I got a
didn't have
ground
that
beef.
thought, yeah. I mean,
I was
that
the
might have been what they did.
Yeah, and I was like, that's awful. That doesn't even look good. Like you think, right? Like it's not. I don't know what was the point of this movie. Like I'm still stuck on that. It was like what was to be gained from this?
Okay, so there's several things to be gained from this. Not least of which is cold hard cash. And second of which is just to bring like all of the major slasher franchises are coming back now because of this current like era. I mean, it happened in the mid 2000s when we got all the remakes, and now it's happening again. And Texas Chainsaw had their time then, and it is again. I mean, it's just on the list of ones that have to come around. So that's why. I mean, I'm sure it was on somebody's checklist. Whoever owns the rights to Texas Chainsaw just had it on there. Like, oh, we got to get this made, and they made it like 2 years ago. This was supposed to come out in theaters like a year and a half ago or something like that. A year ago.
This movie upsets me deeply. If
Why,
that's not
though?
clear,
Because it's bad.
because yes, because it's
There's
bad.
a lot of bad Texas Chainsaw movies.
because
they're
the other-
they're
unique
mostly
ways.
bad. They're mostly
No.
bad.
Yeah, I get that,
Yeah.
and I get but this one is the worst.
No.
I'll say I think this one hit me worse than any other of them have.
Do you think it's because
Like-
you just rewatched the first one?
It might be that, possibly, but like this movie is just bad. Like there is very few quality. Like this movie made me upset watching it. Like I was angered by I am not the type of I was angered by this movie. I was like I was like, oh my fucking, it was just so much of that. It's like, Jesus, like I rolled my eyes so like, oh yeah, I was at a school shooting. And
Okay, that
she's
was
like,
so unnecessary.
I don't want to touch guns. And then she ends up trying to like what are you trying? What is this movie doing? Like everything.
When they went down that route,
I'm
like,
spiking audio so hard. I'm looking at it right now.
It's fine. I'll work around it. When they brought that element in, that was kind of the first like, what the fuck is the point here? Like, you're trying to like have this character with her own deep problems, and like this guy carries a gun and they saw it, and that's PTSD, and it's like, but then it just goes nowhere and
my
doesn't
favorite
do
part
anything?
about her being a school shooter survivor, right, is at the end, when Leatherface is about to kill her, and she's just like, "I knew it. I am supposed to be dead," and she's just gonna let him kill her.
Yeah.
Like, is that what is the messaging here? Actually,
That's what I'm saying. Is I'm pretty sure this movie is like kind of conservative. It is like a only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun, and like,
well, the bad
but
guy has
like,
a chainsaw, but yeah.
yeah, but like at the same time, like
It's really too
none
bad
of
there
it,
wasn't a good guy with the chainsaw in this one, huh? That's
Yeah,
probably what this
yeah.
movie needed, actually.
Yeah. But like which is like stupid, and like I disagree with that, obviously. But like, you know, some people who listen to this podcast might agree with that, and
Some
that's
people
fine.
on
You're
this
wrong,
podcast
but
might
yeah,
agree with that.
yeah, and that's fine. You're wrong, but that's fine. But this movie, like, it's just there's a thing, right, with a certain level of old people comedy, and this movie is very old people comedy.
Well, the
like
main
very
characters
boomer,
are 80 years old.
yeah, boomer tier comedy, right? Where like they refuse to let go and realize some of their jokes aren't funny anymore. And I think that's what bothers me, right? Like this whole like, oh, we're going to get it because all these young kids are afraid of school shootings, but we'll have to show them that really some good old gumption and castle law is really important, right?
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, they don't even successfully tell their own shitty jokes. Like, it's just... This movie knew what it wanted to be. They knew this movie was going to be without a soul, and they didn't even make it entertaining enough. Like, if you're going to make me sit through 80, 90 minutes of like something that means at the end of the day nothing, right? Then at least give me something that is good, like that is fun, right? Again, there are movies that I fundamentally disagree with the politics of. The Maniac Cop feature films, right? I love those movies. I love them, and those and those movies. Those movies are hardcore propaganda, which is not my thing, right? Love the Maniac Cop movies. Love them a whole bunch. I disagree with their politics vehemently for the most part, but they're good. They're fun, right? This movie, I disagree with the politics, and I just disagree with the filming decision. And everything about this movie just makes... And the fact that they took a movie that is art, that is purely art. When we recorded the episode first, we all agreed that the original Texas Chainsaw is beyond reproach. When we talk about the sequel, which we will, I love that movie too. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, The Next Generation, or whatever. I think
The
that's
third
3.
one is The Next Generation.
Yeah. Which is also a fine movie. It's not great, but it's a fine movie. Like they are, it's not good. It's not good, but it's fine. It's fine. It's like a CD tier type movie.
It is definitely, yeah.
Yeah,
bad.
Yeah, but as bad as this was, you're gonna say?
I would say that, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, come on. Like you act like this is the movie that is like destroying the Texas Chainsaw Massacre legacy. Like, no,
I'm not saying that.
No, you're
I'm
not saying that.
But
the way that you're acting is like this is the movie, this is the one. But like, there's so many bad Texas Chainsaw movies.
Because this could have been.
It was never gonna be. You know,
I know. I hated it from jump, and I knew that. But this had I said I went into this going like, give this movie a chance. Just give it a chance, give it a shot, because I have to, because I'm like, I do this for like a recording thing, and it like Alan, it failed to meet my basement bottom. I was like, if this movie is like even like half good at being a 2003 slasher reboot, and it wasn't even good at doing that. Like, it didn't even feel like that. The people who were praising it like said that like it was good for this. It was like, I didn't even feel good about that. I've been ranting for like a solid 5 minutes. This movie just makes me livid.
To kind of bring it more to the very beginning, actually, I almost out the gate started hating this movie. Almost out the gate. because you've got this scene where they're like in the gas station getting gas, which why were they getting gas when they have an electric car? I didn't even think about that till just now. Is it a hybrid? Is it supposed to be electric?
Well,
I don't know.
Did they actually get gas, or were they just? At
they
the
were
gas
pulled
station?
up to a pump.
Well,
I think
was there anywhere to park?
They,
Did they have gas in the?
there was
car?
a whole parking lot.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know. I didn't think about it. Okay, though
That's
I'm gonna interject here just for a second. The guy that worked the gas station, did anybody else think that might have been Leatherface?
Yeah,
I thought that would have been such an interesting turn, right?
I was
'Cause
ready for a lot of.
He's talking
Yeah.
about it, he's like, oh, it could be anybody. And I was like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if they just did the gas station trope and but it was just him the whole time?
He took over the Sawyer family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been
That would
great.
have been interesting.
They didn't.
Wow,
do
that would have
though,
made
but-
for a good film. Did we just write the better version of this movie again, as we usually do?
That's the Essential Series classic.
Every single scene we could write. We're three nobodies. Every single scene we could have wrote something that had a more cohesive plot than this. What was why were they buying the ghost town? They said, "Oh, this is our
wanna
dream
get
to
away
do
from the
this."
big city.
Hold on. I wrote it down. Hold
Yeah.
on. I wrote down the quote because I rolled my eyes. We are idealist individuals who want to make a better world. That's why they bought it.
Oh yeah, because they are a cult. That's right. That's
okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. So conservative gun guy, he goes up and down with me throughout his long arc in 20 minutes. He has an interesting arc.
He does, yeah.
But him just going, yeah, that's a cult.
Yeah.
Love that. That is the funniest and most direct line in this entire movie, and it genuinely works. He's correct. 100%. Yeah, that's a cult. And then they all get annihilated, and it's, whatever. But
is this an allegory for Jonestown? Sorry, that's dark. I'm sorry. Jonestown, you guys know. Don't. You guys know. You guys know. Drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah, you guys.
we haven't talked about the. I mean, we've briefly talked about the gore.
Gee.
The gore. Yeah.
It's
a lot.
It goes between something I really liked and also awful.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
It's so hit or miss scene by scene.
I think my
Mostly
biggest
misses.
thing is that there is a scene, the bus scene, right? Which is one of the scenes that is brought up a lot, and I was kind of expecting a lot out of that bus scene. And it's such a cool setup, in the last 10 years of cinema, we've kind of gotten into this vibe where there's really cool choreography happening in tight hallways or packed spaces like that, and it was that was the moment. It's oh, we're gonna get that Darth Vader moment or whatever, but it's gonna be Leatherface. It's gonna be so cool. And then was the choreography good? I couldn't tell because it's shot so poorly. You couldn't see anything. That was probably the most disappointing part of the whole movie for me, especially because a bunch of the kills before that were pretty good, and they were all the one-on-one. I think that they were well executed slasher kills, and then they had that huge set piece and just totally missed
They
it.
needed
Totally
to pad
missed
their
it.
numbers.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
That-
How
that
many
was-
people
that
were
was-
on there? 30, So
Yeah.
I think what a good highlight there is, and something that sticks in my brain is Halloween Kills kind of had two of those big choreography scenes with the firefighters, and then at the very end, I remember I liked the end one more than you guys, if I remember correctly.
Where he's killing
'cause I
everybody
think
at
that scene is terrible.
Yeah,
So-
but I guess my point is, I
if
think,
you liked it at all, you liked it more than me.
but my point
I
is,
like that movie generally. So
both
that,
of
yeah,
those
No, just not that
scenes-
scene though. Is what I mean.
both of those scenes are better the killer kills a group of people than that. And that was something that stuck out to me when I was watching it, is we had just seen, relatively speaking, similar kind of setups.
Mhm.
And on the one hand, I get Michael Myers annihilating people, very visceral. It's high level gore too. They're very comparable scenes. And in the one, I get this well crafted stuff, and then in this movie, I get just bad CGI and so I'm not the biggest fan of Evil Dead 2. This is known. However, if you're gonna do blood, if you're gonna do that level of blood in a scene, then go full Sam Raimi with it. Because, again, that would be funny, or maybe not full Sam Raimi, but just something more. Because this scene in the bus, I was just sitting there like, I don't care. None of these are interesting. It's bad CGI left and right. It just doesn't work on, like, any level for me.
Well, and the worst bit was, like, every character that you liked it or were supposed to like in this movie was either making it out... but all the protect was either making it out at this point, you knew they were going to make it out, or were already dead. So all you had left was the bank lady, and you didn't even know who the bank lady was.
I don't even know her name is. Yeah.
yeah. They said it, I think. Right?
I'm not sure.
But they
did. I just don't remember.
Yeah. But it's just.
I did like her kill. It was good enough.
I didn't.
Yeah, I know. You didn't.
Like it. There were good enough is not good enough at that point, right? Like at this point, they botched that scene so hard, and like what they should have done.
The better version. Go.
What they should have done is she should have been hiding, right? And they get out through the ceiling, right? And like he's going after for the ceiling, and he's like walking away, and she starts crawling out over the ceiling, where they all crawled out through the ceiling, and then she gets chopped in half. And so like they do like a pan where it's showing him doing it from
up and go through kind of a thing.
Yeah, and so it's like, oh shit, he's still in there type thing. Run, like that would have been a more. Because then you wouldn't have had this like, how did nobody else open a window like that? But
I don't know. I don't think that would have actually been that much better. I think it would have felt very similar, and also like you already had the earlier scene where Leatherface is cutting through the floor, and so it kind of feels repetitive then.
Yeah, but no, you get a payoff for that and then you actually see somebody die with that.
Like you actually talk about the garbage ending of this movie.
Yeah, we can talk.
Yes. The whole ending. Basically, from
she
when
does
Sally
that,
shows up.
She does that at the very, very end where Protag Girl gets her head cut off. She's doing that before she dies, and then she's doing that the entire time when she gets her fake head picked up. It's the weird. It's like, did nobody tell her to stop? Like it's.
Basically from the moment Sally shows up, I pretty much hate everything. I mean, I didn't like much up until that point, but then I really started hating it when she shows up because I have to handle this because this is my problem. What the fuck really kind of motivation is that?
A really bad addition.
What?
They wanted her to be like Laurie, but
exactly. But they didn't earn any of that.
No.
Part of the issue is that this franchise, I mean, Sally is not to Texas Chainsaw Massacre what Laurie is to Halloween. Exactly. I mean, that's just the core issue, right? Like, it works in Halloween 2018 because even though 2018 is a direct sequel to Halloween 2018 knows that you've seen all the other movies that Laurie is in. So you have this sort of like cultural consciousness of Laurie being this long-term survivor, even though in that movie's canon, she's not, right? She had one night.
But I still think...
And Neve Campbell is like...
Neve Campbell is actually... Yeah, and this movie... that's simply not how it goes. Because even if you have seen every other Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Sally is in only one other one, and it's the remake. So,
in all honesty, Stretch was probably a better choice between it because Stretch is more of a character.
It also would make way more sense for Stretch to come back because she thinks that she won, which is kind of like the whole point of like the real final girl trope, right? It's that like they win in the end, like by defeating and not just by running away. And so like a sequel to Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 where you can just say, but Leatherface survived, you know, and have Stretch be the final girl. Like then not only do you have a reason for Stretch to be there, the actress who plays Stretch is still alive and still doing horror movies, which would have been a much better decision. And also you then
the Sawyer family's all dead.
I was gonna say the Sawyer family is gone for a reason, which so it makes sense. Like just including that movie and changing the final girl, the aged final girl, improves the movie significantly.
And you could lean into you could lean into the silliness.
Yeah.
That this movie was
wanted to
did
actually
be humorous.
but like had to stay away from they're like.
Yeah. I also like this whole sole survivor kill too, and then she lives for the next 15 minutes while all of her internal organs are just eviscerated. Like, come on. I could not have been the only one who was immediately like, there's no fucking way you would have any ability to do a damn thing.
When they kill her,
so dumb.
When they kill her immediately, I was kind of like, wow, okay, so they're subverting the trope. Like, this is actually kind of interesting. And then when, 5-10 minutes later or whatever, they pan over and, like, she's alive firing shotgun blasts, like, okay, now
they
it's
did it
just
twice,
stupid.
too. Because they did it with Dante earlier, where you think he's dead, but nope, he's not dead. Like, what the like...
Yeah, true.
Oh my
god. With Dante, they had
like,
a
doubly
chance.
Don't do it well.
With Dante, I thought what they were going to do is, I figured he would still be alive, because they made a point of, like, showing him, like, bleeding a lot, but not, like, really dead. And I was like, okay, he's going to be alive still.
They didn't finish him, yeah.
And then he just bleeds out on the corner, like, he didn't get, like, properly killed. That was a waste, for sure.
This movie was a waste. This movie was a waste of my time. This movie was a waste of money.
Preach.
Well, maybe not. It's probably been pretty successful, I would imagine.
Netflix bought it for who knows how much, yeah.
Yeah, Netflix bought it, so it's there, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll get it.
Are we ready to just
We're
wrap
ready.
this shit up?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and start then. We rate movies on a scale of 0 to 5 with half points allowed. And in the honor of that scale, I'm giving this movie a 1 out of 5. I debated giving it a 0.5. It was that aggressively awful to me. I think we mentioned cinematography earlier. There's like a couple of pretty nice shots. One of them being when he holds the face up. I think that's a pretty. I like
all the
that,
shots in the sunflower field are really good. Yeah, the trailer shots.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's almost like they blew their load early.
Yeah.
Ooh, what a thunk. But for the most part, this movie was just in between eye rolls and huffy puffiness. There was nonsense thrown at my eyes that my brain had to decipher as a film, and I think it hardly succeeded in even doing that bare minimum level for me. I despised this movie and wish I hadn't watched it. This is to me, I think, the worst film we've watched for the show so far, and it's not close.
I'll go where Alan wouldn't. 0.5 out of 5.
I love you, Bobby.
Yeah. There is one interesting kill in this movie. Not interesting enough to give it a 1. But it is an interesting kill. And there are some good shots. Oh, the first one. The first one, I wanted
to be sure.
Yeah, I had forgotten about it because of this movie being as much of a goddamn dumpster fire as it is. But when Corbin reminded me of it, I was like, yeah, that was cool. It's like, oh fuck, that was like the one positive moment I had. I had about 30 seconds of joy in a movie that filled me to the brim with steaming, festering rage. I hate this movie. I hate this movie with all of my being, which sucks because very clearly a lot of the people who were acting in this movie really tried to make something of it, and that's the real shame. Is a lot of these people are going to have this black mark on their credentials, and they don't deserve it because this movie was well acted, but it was just never going to be good, and it's bad, and I hate it. I typically don't say don't watch it, but don't watch it. So
that's going to affect the next bit of the show.
0.5 out of 5.
Not at all. It couldn't possibly, Alan.
No way.
All right, so I'll go ahead and say that I liked it at least as much as the two of you combined. I'm going to give it a 1.5.
I love it when we have these stair-stepping scores. It's genuinely my favorite.
I don't think
3 out of 15.
I don't think that this was a good movie. I do think that this is the lowest combined score we've given to a film. I think it deserves that. But I mentioned it earlier. I did have a good time. I enjoyed it enough that if this movie is like on, I'll watch it. I think it's good for like parties because you can just kind of like toss it on in the background. I don't know. It wasn't good, but I had a good time. 1.5.
Can I push back on
Yeah.
the background movie thing?
Oh, sure.
Like, if it's the if it's on statement,
Yeah.
you have to choose to put this on.
Well, you can.
There's
yeah,
so
maybe,
many better options for background movies.
Are there?
No, I don't
Yes.
think so.
I don't know. Yeah, because the reason why this is a good background movie is because not only can you watch it in small chunks without needing to pay attention, you actually don't really want to pay attention. So you can just turn and see a few
Yes.
seconds, and nothing about what you're seeing compels you to watch the rest of it.
I don't know.
So you can just turn away.
I would not choose to put this movie on ever. If I go the rest of my life and I never see this film again, that would be a better life.
That's the hope. I
Oh, boy.
can't wait till we have to do a franchise dissection of
Texas
Texas Chainsaw now.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, there are like 8 other pretty decent movies in advance.
Yeah.
But hey, is it essential? Now, disregarding, of course, our scores, which, if you skipped ahead to this point, were a 0.5 from Bobby, a 1 from Alan, and a 1.5 from me. Is this movie essential to horror and or film in general? Bobby, why don't you just open up?
Sure. This movie takes some risks. It's unafraid to play with my
Controversial
emotions,
themes?
my deeply, deeply red hot anger. This movie makes me so mad. Nobody should watch this movie. This movie is psychological warfare. It's very bad. I do not like it. I'd like for it to go away, please. It is unessential. I'm not even sure it's a movie. I don't know. It was something I watched. Yeah.
There it is. I'll go next. I agree. I liked the movie, but it's not good, and I can't see how it possibly could be essential. It's not a good requel, and it's also like, unless this ends up being the beginning of the end of the trend, and even then, it's like, why not just point to it as a bullet point on a list rather than actually watching the whole thing? I'm gonna say no, it's not essential. Even if you're like a hardcore Texas Chainsaw Massacre fan, you probably don't want to watch this. It's not as good as any movie that has come out since the remake, and there's been like 5 other mid-quality Texas Chainsaw movies since then. So, no.
I'm going to take the bold stance here
Yeah.
on the podcast.
Yeah.
And just agree with you guys.
Okay.
No. I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah,
Just no.
that's fair.
Don't waste your time.
It makes me so mad. It makes
It's
me
very
so
funny
mad.
to see Bobby get so angry.
I know.
I
kind of want
don't.
I kind of want to pick another movie that's gonna try. I want to try and
Right?
get him back into this mood. Mad Bobby.
Would we-
Yeah, we gotta do
it's-
some
it-
thinking.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't watched this, I ranted for like maybe a good solid 5 minutes about this movie. Go do yourself a favor. You don't need to watch the movie. Just listen. At this point,
You'll get more out of listening to us
Yeah.
talk about this film, this experience,
Yeah.
than watching it.
Yeah.
You'll say to yourself, surely it cannot be this bad, and I will tell you, surely it can and is.
We'll probably get more people to watch it. Actually,
Oh no!
Speaking of Shirley, what have you guys been doing for the past little bit here?
Ah,
yeah, Bobby, what have you been doing?
what have I been doing? I have been getting married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Woo!
I had a beautiful wedding with my beautiful wife, producer Mallory. It was awesome. We had
It was a fun time.
It was
Very good, very good.
both my boys were here. Corbin was actually in my my bridal party. He
Yeah,
was one of
I
my
wasn't
groomsmen.
loved
Suck
enough.
on that, Alan.
Sorry, Alan. I met you through Corbin. It would have been
That's
really
fair. I
weird.
get it.
But no, it was a really great time. I really enjoyed myself. I'm really happy to be married. I love my wife a lot. All anger subsiding now. Other than that, we in about an hour of time recording, will be running World's First for the new Destiny 2 raid. So all three of us, you're going to hear the same thing from them too, have been really practicing. That's why I'm wearing my gamer jersey. That's why I'm drinking my gamer juice. I'm getting ready to game. And Elden Ring came out, played a couple hours of that, really good. So you can find me at twitch.tv/theredweenie. You can see the VOD for our world first attempt. I will be streaming that live, so if you follow me on any of my socials, you'll get that. Or if you find us in our Discord, I'll probably post it in there as well. So we'll see how that goes. Love to see you guys there. I probably won't be talking to you much because I'll be really focused, but you'll still get to see it. Yeah.
Nice. Well, you can find me anywhere at Corbangerang. I have been playing a lot of Destiny, of course, and not a lot else except Warhammer. I have been able to get in a lot of games of Warhammer lately, which is a staunch difference compared to the past several months. I've been begging everybody to come over and play as much as possible. So that's been really great, getting more into the gaming side of that hobby. And then I've been reading a lot. I'm reading Horus Rising, which is the first Warhammer book. I just finished the fourth book in the Bobaverse Audible series. If you guys like audiobooks and you like hard sci-fi, I highly recommend that.
What is it called?
The first book is called We Are Legion, We Are Bob. It's very, very good. And
I feel like Bobby has to.
I love that
listen
for
to
me.
that
Yep.
By just the title alone.
The audio narration is some of the best I've ever experienced. And this.
Are we talking Star Wars books level?
Well, so Star Wars books are great because there's a lot extra going on besides narration, music, sound effects, whatever. This book is still just narration, but the narrator is incredible. Okay. Really, really.
You can get through Audible.
It's really interesting when you find I've found narrators on Audible where I'm I don't necessarily know that I want to I want to look up you and just find a book that you read to me.
You can do that on
you
Audible.
Just
you
have
can
this
search.
voice.
Yeah, and this is one of those guys. I can't imagine reading these books on the page at this point. And then I'm currently reading the Final Girls support group. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that book.
No.
It's written by Grady Hendrix. It is a book about Final Girls, and it's basically I think it came out before all of this the requel craze. I think it came out in 2013 or 14. But it is about the final girls from each of the major slasher franchises, and they have names changed and their stories changed a little bit to make it a book and not just it's not licensed. But it's clearly about Laurie Strode and Sidney Prescott and Sally Hardesty and all these people, and they have a therapy group that they all go together, and then someone's trying to take them out 40 years later because it's set way later.
Interesting.
Yeah. I don't yet know how I feel about it. I'm 3 or 4 hours into it. I think I like it, but I'm also not sure. It's narrated by Adrienne King, who was the original Final Girl from Friday the 13th, which is kind of cool. But that's
It's got to be It's got to be Sydney, right? Sydney is the most capable of all the Final Girls.
So Sydney in this book is in a wheelchair, so she's so she did not come out of her encounters unscathed.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You can find me at A Seal Punter, where I will be retweeting basically anything Elden Ring related that makes me laugh, chuckle, cry, all sorts of emotions. I've played 25 hours of Elden Ring in the past week because it's quickly becoming my favorite game of all time. I cannot even begin to explain to you guys just how much I love that game. It just has everything I need in a video game. Truly. It's amazing. Also, prepped for Destiny, reluctantly, between the times when I wanted to be playing Elden Ring. These two guys heard me complain for a couple of days straight when I was knocking out all of the Witch Queen campaign on Legendary.
He was a real
which was
sourpuss.
very brutal. I got my Galahorn, so we've got that. I also have been listening. Well, I finished Dr. Sleep on Audible. Because I'd gotten halfway through it and stopped listening a while ago, so I just restarted.
I was gonna say, I remember you bringing that up a while back.
Yeah. So I got through it, and it's a goddamn good book, man. I mean, it's really, 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 really good. Highly recommend it. Any Stephen King work on Audible is a pretty easy recommendation for me. So that's been my life basically.
Nice. Well, there you go.
Oh, yeah.
And hey, you can find the podcast anywhere at Essential Scares. We've got links to the Discord on all of our socials, which are primarily Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Right after this, Bobby mentioned it, we're all going to go and attempt World's First for the new Witch Queen raid in Destiny 2. And we'll be posting about that on our socials. Obviously, by the time you hear this, we either will have succeeded or not. So go back and watch the VOD, and hopefully it's a happy one. With that, though, that's it for the week. Thank you to everybody for listening or watching. If you like the show, give us a like, a subscribe, and share it with your friends and family. Maybe this episode is a good one to share, as a warning. Thank you to Alan.
Do you want to see Bobby get mad?
Yeah.
Here's the episode for you.
True. Thank you to Alan and Bobby for being on the show with me. Next week, we're going to watch Maniac Cop. I have been your host, Corbin, and this has been Essential Scares.
Play that breakdown, you're canceled, bro.